All right, feeling a little bit under the weather today. Well, I've been sick for the past few days actually, but it's neither here nor there. Just decided to get some things off my mind. Just got out of work. I ain't got nothing else to do but go to sleep. So I figured why not record something before I go to sleep. I've been seeing crypto going crazy lately. Bitcoin is about to hit 100K. I wish I would have got on that a lot sooner. I've been investing in Cardano, which is, they have ADA, that's their coin. Something I've really been paying attention to a lot. One of the developers for Ethereum kind of branched off and did his own thing with Cardano and ADA, and it's looking promising. I've been doing a lot of research on it, and I believe it's going to do something big in the future maybe. But yeah, that's been going up too. Bitcoin is going crazy, Ethereum, just all of it is going crazy. I just wish I would have really been ahead of the curve when it comes to investing. Of course, some of that stuff you got to be ready to play the long game, unless you want to be a day trader. There's a lot of day traders that make a lot of good money, like super good money, but it's kind of riskier being a day trader than it is being like a regular, just a regular person buying stocks and whatnot. It's kind of a high risk, high reward type of deal. You have to have a lot of money to start off. At least that's what it seemed like, and from what I've been told, what I've partly researched. Stocks, crypto, get into that. I mean, if you want to have money in the future, that's definitely where you need to spend time doing research and looking at trends and whatnot, getting used to that. Something I used to try to do. I tried to pay attention to it at one point, but I kind of fell off. I'm kind of getting back into it now because it's been going crazy. But it's not a good time to buy, in my opinion, because everything is high right now. Whenever it goes back down, that's the best time to start getting into it. But yeah, investing is super important, man. Just putting your money into things like real estate, crypto, stocks, all types of investments. Early technology that's in like early development stages or whatever. Blockchain technology, for example, is like, it's super young, you know what I mean? It's still time to get in. It's been around for about 10 years now, but I think it's still time to get into that, you know what I mean? There are a lot, it's still new relatively. It's probably going to take off, become a little bit more, it's starting to gradually become mainstream, and a lot of investors are starting to look at it, but it's not to the point where they want to go all in yet. And once it gets to that point, that's when it's really gonna break loose. If now is not the time, hopefully, me personally, I would like it to dip back down. Like I've been saying to myself, I'm hoping for a crash because that's when everything will go down. That'll be the best time to invest, but it is what it is if it doesn't. But most importantly, crypto, stocks, it's all these different things to invest your money in can really set you up for wealth and financial freedom. It's just a whole bunch of different avenues to take. Real estate is another one I've been really paying attention to. It's a lot of things that people should really be paying attention to, especially if you're young. If you're young and you got a little bit of money to play with, you don't necessarily know what to do with it, invest. Definitely invest. If you got the money to spare, invest it. Seriously. That will very much so aid you in the future, and you'll be looking back glad that you took that chance. Look at how many people missed out on Bitcoin when it was worth less than pennies. People thought it was a scam. People thought, they didn't know what it was. They didn't have enough knowledge on it. They thought it was something that was going to be pointless. But people are millionaires because of Bitcoin now. Super rich. It's about to be 100K. Imagine the people who bought it when it was pennies and whatnot, and held on all the way till now. That they are super rich, and it's like, it takes a lot of faith when stuff comes out that early and it seems so sketchy. You gotta have a lot of faith in stuff like that, because of course don't nobody want to put their money into something that doesn't seem promising. I guess it's one of those things where it's like, you kind of gotta be really interested in that type of stuff to want to do the research to put your money into it, because of course it just, back then nobody knew what the hell was going on. Nobody knew what it was. Blockchain technology was very early on, just coming out. Bitcoin was just so mysterious. Then you got all these altcoins that start coming out, meme coins, and all these meme coins that just are really designed like a pyramid scheme. It's a lot of risks in delving into meme coins, and then people hear all these stories about that one guy who, what was the name of that coin that collapsed or whatever, or damn it, I cannot think of his name, but Luna, I think it was Luna Coins, or I can't think of the name of the company or whatever, but that whole disaster when that collapsed and went all the way down, it was worth, I don't remember, it was worth a lot of money then. It was worth less than pennies to buy a damn coin. I wish I could think of the name of this guy right now. I can't believe I can't think of his name right now. But when people hear stories about stuff like that, it makes them even more skeptical to want to put any money or faith into crypto and whatnot. Stocks too. Even stocks have definitely proven that they're very trustworthy. You know what I mean? Like, look at Warren Buffett, very rich people who have invested in stocks all these years, and they're super rich. Stocks seem a little more trustworthy to most people than crypto, obviously. But stocks and crypto are starting to be like connected, especially with like tech companies and whatnot. I think the how crypto acts is kind of correlates with some of these tech companies. It's a whole lot. You got to do research on it. If you're not, I guess if you're not in that atmosphere or in that field or in that sphere of information, you wouldn't know anything about it. But there are people that are blind to it, to these type of investments, and there are people who are financially struggling who, just don't have the money to spare, understandably. And if I'm struggling financially already, of course I'm not going to put my money into something that I don't know anything about. Things like that are important to know about. You got to learn. You really do. And at the end of the day, if you can't invest in that, invest in yourself. Hell, I think it's important to invest time and energy into yourself, because that's important. When you develop yourself, you got to invest in yourself, learning. You have to invest in yourself. That's one of the most important investments you can make. Learning new skills, learning how to do different jobs, learning period. Getting an education, that's an investment. Learning skills, that's an investment. Learning a trade. If you got goals and dreams, some of it can be boring, like I've said before, reading books and gaining knowledge and doing research, it's all boring, but it's an investment. It is an investment that's worth making, because at the end of the day, there is a guaranteed payout that you can look forward to in the future. Learning this skill is going to make you money in the future. You know that for a fact. Getting that degree is going to put you in a position financially in the future to take care of yourself and your family. Those are guaranteed investments, and they're worth making. Chasing your dreams, trying to become whatever you're trying to become. So there are more unguaranteed investments, like making content and whatnot. It can seem like a less guaranteed investment, because the outcome is not always readily visible, especially if you don't have a vision for yourself, or if you don't see where you're trying to go ultimately. Like, there are people who are on social media creating content. They probably never saw themselves getting to where they are at today. It's a lot of people making a lot of money doing a lot of content online, and I'm pretty sure that at some point they never thought they was gonna get there. Maybe they did. Maybe some of them did. Maybe some of them saw the vision and was like, you know what, this is gonna take me where I need to be. People like DC Young Fly, for example, he started off doing the comedy on social media, talking about people and whatnot. I remember him being in front of a brick wall, holding up his phone in front of a brick wall, just making content, and it got him where he at today. Did he see that coming? Who knows? Maybe he did. But the point is, he invested in himself by making that content. Each video he made was an investment in the bank. Each video you make, if you do content, that's an investment. Time you take to perfect your craft, it's an investment. You know what I mean? And it gets less obscure and less uncertain the more time you invest in that craft or in whatever you're doing to get to where you're trying to go in life. And that's kind of how I feel when I make my content. Even though it's not the most entertaining, it's not the most funny content or whatever, I feel like the more I do it, the more it's an investment for the future that may pay off someday. It may not, who knows? But if it doesn't, well, it's gonna pay off, because along the way you're learning. You know what I mean? I'm learning. I'm learning how to try to get better. I'm learning how to just do things differently, try different things that might appeal to people more, talk about different stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it all depends on your audience. You know what I mean? Who are you trying to aim for? Gotta know who you're trying to talk to. And the more I do this, the more I learn who my audience is, who I'm trying to talk to. It's just stuff like that. The more you learn stuff like that, the more you can you can start seeing how the investment is going to start to pay off somewhere along the line. So it's important, super important, to invest in yourself. Look at actors. That's another example. There are a lot of actors who had a rough career starting out, doing auditions, doing different like small shows, small unheard of movies that nobody know nothing about, and they were probably in a very obscure place for a long time, but it was their dream and it was their passion, so they had to keep going because they ain't have anything else. And there were probably points where they were super uncertain about how this was going to pay off, but the more they kept going and kept investing in themselves by still doing those movies and those obscure roles and those small shows, you know what I'm saying, it paid off eventually for a lot of people. And for some people it doesn't pay off. That is a reality that has to be known. But I believe anything you keep putting your mind to, as long as you actively trying to get better at something, I feel like you have no choice but to be successful at it. But if you're not actively trying to get better, if you're still repeating the same mistakes, you're just gonna probably fall by the wayside. And there are people who are more hungrier than you that will take over and take place. There are a lot of small time actors who came up doing very obscure roles nobody knew nothing about, movies that they were in and nobody knew nothing about, theatrical plays, stuff like that. And hell, it paid off for them because they learned along the way. They learned the business, they learned how to network and how to perfect their craft. They took the time to invest in themselves so they could get further and further and get to where they are today. Comedians, hell, a lot of them start off doing small shows at obscure locations, holes in the wall, and eventually they do it enough until they get noticed, and it pays off for them because they kept investing that time, they kept going, they didn't give up, and that investment eventually paid off. That's what counts. You know what I mean? It might seem obscure to you now, what you're doing might not seem worth it now, who knows, but eventually, if you keep being consistent, doing what you need to do, learning what you need to learn along the way, learning from your mistakes, it will pay off. A lot of people are doing things and they get to a point where they feel like they're just wasting their time and it's not going to take them anywhere. But if you legit being a good person and you trying to actually get better at whatever you're doing, it will pay off eventually. You just have to believe it. You have to believe in yourself that it will pay off. And don't give up so easily. If you give up so easily, you will never know what the outcome could have been. If you have a dream, if you're trying to learn something, if you have a skill you want to learn, go do it. Invest the time and the money and it takes to actually perfect that and learn from it. Reading books, that's an investment in your mind and in your knowledge. You know what I mean? The more you know, it can't hurt. It just can only help. I mean, you better your vocabulary, you better your knowledge, you build on top of what you already know, it can only help. All of that is an investment. The investments you make in yourself are the most important investments. Even if you don't have a clear idea where it's going to lead you right now, you will as you take your time to learn and grow from whatever you're doing. Important to invest in yourself. Keep doing that. Invest in other people who invest in you. You know what I mean? For example, Mike Tyson's coach, I forgot his name, but he took the time to invest in Mike Tyson because he saw that he was going to be a champ. He saw that he had potential, and he was not wrong at all. Mike Tyson was one of the greatest boxers ever in the world, and in history, I should say. And he took that loss to Jake Paul recently, which kind of sucked. I didn't watch the fight personally because I already knew what the outcome was going to be. But when he was in his prime, his coach took the time to invest in him and make him into what he was when he was at his prime. You know what I mean? Things like that. There are people out there who are willing to invest in you, who see your potential. If they see it, you should see it as well. Take the time to invest in yourself and perfect your craft. Like I said, I'm pissed because it was a point in time where I was like, all right, I'm finna put all this money into crypto. I'm finna put all of my money on Cardano, ADA. And I'm looking back and I'm beating myself up because I'm like, damn, why didn't I do it? Why didn't I just take that leap of faith? Because I could have had a lot of money right now if I really did it. I could have had a lot of dough. It is what it is, though. You know, I live and I learn. This is a mistake I've repeated, though. Like, I've seen crypto go up and down and up. Since I've been paying attention to it, it's been going up and down, up and down. And I still keep making the same mistake of not putting my money in. But it is what it is. Like I said, if I'm financially able to, I got the money to do it next time, I'm just going all in with whatever I can afford to put in. That's another thing. Like I said earlier, when you invest in stocks and crypto and whatnot, sometimes you got to play the long game. It's the same when you invest in yourself. You got to be prepared to play the long game because it might take time. It might take a year, it might take 5 years, hell, it might take 10 years. Who knows? For you to get success, or what you might deem as success. And a lot of people fail because they give up too early. Or I feel like the speed at which you're successful in whatever you're trying to do depends on you ultimately. It depends on how much you're learning, who you're talking to, who you're networking with. I feel like it doesn't have to take long, but it could. You got to be prepared for it. If it does take long, it could take a long time. It might. Just be prepared to play that. Be prepared to be in it for a long time if you truly want to see some results and some success in it. If it's something you truly love to do and it's your passion, and you see yourself being something in it, just be prepared to be doing it for a while. That's it. Set your life up in a way where you can manage being able to do it as long as possible. You know what I mean? There's a lot of streamers out here who have been making a lot of money streaming. They've been playing the long game. A lot of them streaming every day. People started off with 0 people watching them. People started YouTube channels with 0 views. Everybody started somewhere. Then as years go by, down the line, they get thousands of views, thousands of people watching them. And they took the time to keep repeatedly investing in themselves. And it's all money in the bank. All of it is money in the bank. And when I say money in the bank, I mean like when you make that one video, that's money in the bank. That's an investment, let's say. That's an investment in yourself. That's going to continue. The more investments you make, the more your stock price is going to rise eventually. It might look abysmal and obscure in the beginning, but you have to keep going. Be ready for the long game. I beat myself up a lot because, sometimes I think if I had really just focused on one thing at an early age, where could I be now? But I try not to think about it too much because then I end up beating myself up. If you're young, that's definitely something you gotta do. You have to find one thing and stick to it. Put your time in it. Keep going. It don't matter who talks about you, no matter who judges you, nothing. Find something and stick to it. Because the more experience you got in whatever you're doing, the better it's gonna pay off down the line in the long run. It can't do nothing but help you. Like I said, no matter what people say, no matter how it looks. I've talked about this before already, but don't let people's judgments knock you off your square and make you stop doing what you're doing, because you might be this close to achieving something, and you let something that somebody say or one wrong thing mess up your mood, and then you just quit and stop, and it might have been one more door you had to open to get to where you need to be. So don't give up so easily just because it ain't going the way you want it to go at that time. Don't give up so easily just because you don't see immediate results. Like I said, you got to be ready for the long game. You got to be ready for if it takes a long time. Like I said, I've said this before, everything great takes time. Just be prepared, man. Be prepared. And if people are talking shit, don't take everything so personal. Don't take everything people say so personal. There are a lot of people and things that are going to hit you in life, like opportunities that you strive, that you go for, and you're going to hit a lot of motherfuckers going to say no to you. Got to get used to hearing no and sorry, but we're going to go with somebody else. Don't take none of that personal. If you take everything personal that you hear, you are going to be a sad, depressed person. Got to be comfortable with rejection. It is what it is. One no might set you up for another yes. You never know what'll happen. And I've learned that over the years, just in general, like, don't take everything so personal. Because I was the type of person you couldn't joke about, or you couldn't really have a jokey joke with me because, I would take it to heart. I just learned not to take those jokes to heart and take them so personal. I learned to just not let stuff get to me as much. You gotta have thick skin out here, especially as you get older. When you're trying to go for something that you want in life, achieve things, achieve goals, achieve dreams. Especially when it comes to like I said earlier, like actors and comedians and artists in general. They get a lot of criticism on their work, especially early on. And a lot of people say no to them. If they didn't have thick skin, they would have never got to where they are now in life. They would have never been able to make it. Never. If you want to play the game of content creation, hell, acting, artistry in general, you have to have thick skin. And if you're the type of person I used to be, you couldn't take a joke too well, you ain't like people talking shit about you or to you, just gotta learn how to not take it so personal. Another thing it's a lot of things that you can't take personal. Some people might be having a bad day and they might say some shit to you that might hurt your feelings. You gotta learn to think what they might be going through in their head. You know what I mean? Some people don't mean what they say. Not everything people say is really meant for you. It could be coming from some other place in their mind. They might be in a dark space in their head. You just never know what people really going through. So can't really take everything to heart. Just gotta have thick skin. There are people who are having bad days, or hell, their life in general might just suck. Who knows? And they see you, might be something about you that you doing great in life. Maybe you doing great in life, their life going miserable, and they don't like to see that. Misery loves company, obviously. So just learn how to deal with those people. Not everything that they're saying to you is really directed at you. They might be projecting. A lot of people project how they feel about themselves onto other people. So that's why you really can't take everything personal. Can't get mad. Can't retaliate to everything. You just never know what they're going through in their head. And that's why I brush a lot of stuff off. I'm like, whatever. It is what it is. You said what you said. I don't really care. It's not affecting me like that. Ain't no telling what you going through in your head. You know what I mean? Especially if they come back and apologize about it. That's how you know they was really just going through something. Even if they don't come back and apologize, fuck it. Like, it is what it is. Don't take that personal. Brush it off. Dust your shoulders off. Continue about your day. Shoot back at them with kindness. Learn to dust your shoulders off when people say anything that you might think is offensive and aim towards you. And don't be so sensitive, I guess. Yeah, don't be sensitive either. People are just naturally jokesters and whatnot. Don't take everything to heart just because it hurts your feelings and whatnot. That's about it. I'm gonna keep this short. I'm a little under the weather. I'm finna try to be more consistent with my video making. I'm trying to make a video at least every time I come back from work, for at least the next week. I'm gonna try. Let's see what happens. But yeah, that's it for this. Peace out.